Live on LinkedIn with Simon Hofer. Thank you so much for being with us today. I've heard about you and I've seen what you did. Your solution is so elegant. It feels so effortless. And as a career coach, I just felt like I needed to share this with the world because you are transforming people's careers during their lunch break, coffee break, and it feels so authentic to have those meaningful conversations, informal connections through your lunch break with companies that are relevant for now. I think you have about 70 companies in your portfolio. I remember you mentioned that. So first of all, tell us about you, and then I'll bombard you with questions.
No, sounds great, and very happy to be here, part of this conversation. So yes, I'm Simon, and I co-founded the company in 2019 with my co-founder Konstantin. And when we started, we actually firsthand experienced the big question as a student about to graduate: what are you going to do when you finish university? And it's a big question. At the end, we spend also so much time with work. I mean, it's like probably half of all hours that we are awake are spent at work for many people. And so we think it's very important what career decisions you make. And we also saw from ourselves and from the peers at university that a lot of factors go into a decision of what is the right employer for you. It's just not the salary only that matters, the compensation package, but it is a lot more about company culture, the right team, growth opportunities. So a lot of kind of softer factors that are harder to figure out in advance. And yeah, we had access to career fairs, for example, where you could inform yourself about potential employers. You get some flyers, some goodies handed out. Maybe you can go to career website and inform yourself about the companies, but it's also always everybody's super innovative, everybody's super agile on their company website, but it's very hard to get a real understanding of what is the culture actually like. And we always felt that when we talk to people working in companies, kind of question them over coffee, let's say, invite them for coffee and say, hey, what do you like about your job? Maybe what are the parts that you don't like so much? How are your team members? What is the culture like? And investigate curiously from the people working there. That's when we get the most authentic picture of how that job actually is and how the company is. And yeah, so we thought what is missing actually is a platform that just facilitates this, because not everybody has access to the network where they can just conveniently ask other people about their jobs. And we thought a platform that can create these informal meetings would help out. And that was kind of the core idea of CareerLunch, to help talents get in touch very informally with people working at relevant employers for them.
It's also great for the employer branding. So the employer is also keen to finance and develop this idea with you. Tell me more about who's paying for this.
No, absolutely. I mean, from day one, we wanted to make sure it's also a sound business, and that we obviously for this you need to create value for your customer, and for us the customer is the companies. So the ones who have a profile on the platform, they pay us a subscription to be there, and for them it's a very elegant way to make their brand tangible, because there is a lot of culture that the companies build up. There's a lot of opportunities for talents, but it's not always easy to communicate those through just a career website and through maybe flyers at career fairs. So we allow them to make their brand more tangible through their people, and to also make it very convenient. So kind of all the scheduling, the matchmaking, we take care of that. And we help them position themselves throughout the DACH region by now. So we started in Switzerland, but also now we reach talents in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. So with us, they can bring their brand out there throughout the DACH region, make it very convenient to schedule those meetings, to find the right matches, and then also to, I would say, afterwards. So one is the branding part, but obviously once you get to know talents, it's also the question of, okay, how can I leverage these talent relationships? How can I then hire from the talent pools that I'm building? And that's where we see also a lot of value being created with CareerLunch, to build your talent pool, but also then convert your talent pool to actually your hires in the long term.
Your pipeline of talent, because internal employees can refer people that they want to refer. And I think it's a lot cheaper for HR to publish jobs in that way. I think it's it's a fraction of what they would spend if they were to run a selection process formally, putting all this on job boards. Whereas here you have a more organic reach, and the quality is pretty on point. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, I would say it's also a different approach. I think traditionally you post job ads when you have open positions, and then you hope you get the right applications. But what we're seeing, more modern companies try to be more proactive and actually building talent pools ahead of time. So when they actually have job openings, they can tap into these pools. So then also the idea is that you can fill positions way faster if you have a pipeline ready that is already pre-vetted, and you had already a touch point with them. It's way faster to convert afterwards these talents, and that is a big advantage as well to compare to just traditional job ads.
Is this also for campus recruiting? Like if you have people who are about to finish their studies and they want to know what does it mean to work in a Big Four? Like, can you hook
Yeah,
them up? Are you doing that as well?
absolutely. It's actually where we started with our audience, because for us it was we started when we were still at university, so we were close to the target audience, and that is where we also then had access to the career centers of university. So we also partner with them to reach the talents. For example, in Switzerland, that would be ETH and University of Zurich, where we collaborate, and that way we can also communicate to the talents through official channels, and that is attractive also for the companies we work with to have these partnerships. And very interestingly, like when I think about the first customer, it's always well, like with every platform, it's like the chicken and egg question. You get the people on the platform, and for us, we wanted to start well, having companies on the platform, because otherwise the talents don't have any opportunities on reasons to sign up if there's no
Yeah.
offering. At the same time, for companies, they ask, okay, where are the talents? So we also need to prove something. The way we solved it back then was that we talked to potential companies that could be interested in, and consultancies was kind of a segment that has a lot of hiring need among the student graduate audience, because they typically target them anyway. So we
Yeah.
approached firstly them, and we pitched in the end the idea for CareerLunch before we even had their website up and running. And the main question we got back is not like, hey, how does the website and tool work? But the main question is how you get the talents on board. We're kind of interested in the concept, but we want to know how you get the talents. And that was a very fair question. And we then solved it by approaching career centers from the universities and asked them, hey, would you help us out by promoting CareerLunch to the students? And we were very grateful that ETH Zurich was the first one to say, yes, it's a cool concept. We'd be happy to help you communicate that with our students. And then we could go back to these big companies, consultancies, and say, hey, look, together with ETH Zurich, we're launching this platform.
Yeah.
And then we got the first contracts signed before the website was built. So then we had about 3 months over summer where we actually needed to build also the tool to get it up and running. But
And
it
the
was
website is amazing. I registered, and I really find it really customer friendly and innovative. But tell me one thing, P&G, Unilever, General Mills, General Electric, they all have one thing in common. Those companies really like to grow talent from within. They almost have like an inside, I would say, academy, right? SAP is like that as well, where they grow you from within, and you just go through the different titles up until, I mean, that kind of structure is not gonna survive for much longer, because that way of working is quite obsolete. We don't work like that anymore. We change companies every 2 to 3 years. But is that perhaps the type of company that you're chasing, or do you have any preference in terms of the ideal company to put in your portfolio?
yeah, maybe to separate two things here. One, the kind of the trend and how people work and what we see with the younger generation. Maybe I can tackle that first, and then afterwards, kind of the companies we most typically work with. But I would agree in a sense that I see also talents from, let's say, Gen Z especially, and it started already with millennials staying less longer in their positions. They might switch more often from one career opportunity to the other. And this has various reasons. One might just be just growth opportunities, maybe more opportunistically acting on certain things, maybe also because they realized the expectations were mismatched in terms of values. They signed up because they thought it would be a good match, and once they started working there, then they realized, okay, it's actually not the best match for me, and then they started looking around for the next thing. I think here, interestingly, with CareerLunch, we believe we can help people make better career decisions, which should lead to also longer retentions. I don't think the typical talent will choose one employer and stay the rest of their lives with them. But I do think that by making the right career decision with the right company and team that you get into, you're more likely to stay there for a longer time period and able
Yeah.
to grow and also create value for the company. And then maybe you switch after 5-6 years for another opportunity. That's still possible. But yes, we want to help talents to not switch every 6 months to a new job, but we kind of want to help them, hey, find a job that really suits you, and hopefully by making the right decision, you'll stay there also for longer, and which helps both parties, right? It's time
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
money for both sides if it's a mismatch. So that was for the first part, and I think the second part of the question was the typical companies we work with. Here, I think initially it was especially consulting companies, because that was a big match with the target group, because you work with students and graduates a lot. We saw they have a big
Yeah. They
need.
start young. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly, see the big fours using it, but also smaller ones, some international ones. The good thing for us was, the great target group match. Also, many students want to work in the consulting industry, so I think that was a great match from the beginning. And it also helped us because many of these consultancies have offices all around the world. We actually started in Switzerland, but we then could go to Germany and Austria with our customers because they already knew our solution in Switzerland. They said, hey, we'd also be interested doing this in Germany and in Austria, and that helped us to expand. So for us as a startup, that was a very a good match from the start. But we also see our role as inspiring talents to see what different opportunities are out there for me, and maybe even some opportunities you don't have on the radar yet. So in that sense, through CareerLunch, we want to offer you the opportunity to meet a consultancy, but maybe also a more industry-focused company, and maybe even a smaller startup, medium-sized company. So then you can figure out different working styles, different cultures, and figure
Yeah.
out
Environment.
more
Hmm.
you. So we have quite of a diverse approach in which industries we target. I think if you count in percentage-wise, consultancy is probably the biggest segment, but we have a very big variety still. We have like fashion brands like Hugo Boss who are on the platform. We have even the Swiss government, so public institutions using our solution as well to find talents, and that is very much desired for us, because that way we can show different opportunities and not just one
Yeah.
industry to talents.
Do you have recruiters and headhunters on the platform, or is it just like a peer-to-peer network mostly?
So the core idea is for the talents to meet a person in the job field they're interested in. So in
Yeah.
most cases, this will not then be HR, because let's say you're like your background in IT, and then you want to meet someone from Hugo Boss who works in IT and who can tell about their work day and projects. So we create the matches based on the backgrounds that are relevant to the talents. And but for some, it's also HR. I mean, there's also obviously talents that go into the HR space, and then they want to talk to an HR person and ask how their work is in that space. In terms of headhunters, no, we don't have headhunters on the platform. We kind of, we don't have an intermediary in that sense. We try to match the talents
Yeah.
directly with the company. So I think traditionally in a headhunter, we would, if you were to work with a headhunting company, then only for your internal hiring. If someone wants to figure out how is it like to work as a headhunter, that
Yeah.
might be an opportunity for CareerLunch in the future. But we're not hosting headhunters to meet our talents to then place them somewhere else, because that
Yeah.
would be not the concept of CareerLunch. We want to match you directly with the relevant person.
It's almost like a career trial. You get to experience before you buy, right? And then that's a concept that is simple and so elegant and yet hard to implement. I suppose sometimes. So I met another company called Top to You, and they did that kind of. They're mostly in South America, where oh, the head of HR for this big multinational wants to meet the head of HR of this other big company because they want to understand what are they doing
Mhm.
that's innovative and different, and so they can talk about policies and common projects and ideas. But then lots of NDAs, and it has to be really. So I don't know how you're tackling that issue in terms of data protection, and do you have that plugged into your page, or that's on top? How do you manage that?
Yeah, the good thing is it's a very light data approach that we have. We work with so the talents that sign up for our website, they need a LinkedIn profile. So then we have the LinkedIn URL from the talents, and the employees who host career lunches from the various companies, they also have their LinkedIn profile attached to their career lunch profile. And that way we can introduce them via email, and we share the LinkedIn profiles and say, hey, Rebecca, please meet Simon. Here's the LinkedIn profile.
Yeah,
You see that, and that information is then public. So there's not so much
yeah,
privacy concerns with the LinkedIn profile links. But then obviously we operate in Germany and Austria, and so the GDPR compliance regulations also apply to us, and we did invest time to figure things out and manage the data properly, and have the opportunities in place for talents to delete all their data. And after some time passes, also these kind of steps. And actually, so to that degree, I would even say it's an opportunity for companies who work with us, that they can also manage their talent pool through us in a compliant way, right? So then that way, because we take care of the data handling, that then they also can outsource that part of the talent pool management to us.
understood. Um, so I've seen that you've built a few other startups in the past, so this is not your first rodeo. Um, and I understand what gave you that motivation. It was kind of a problem you wanted to solve that was very present and real. But so when you I read a little bit about this initiative that you also created, the lunch for lunch, where you contribute to nonprofits. So people who attend can donate, because those who attend and benefit from this service, I mean, it's totally free. So I'm sure they feel indebted to you for saving their careers over lunch. Um, what I mean, and I know that the calls, like you said, you're really mindful of people's privacy. I don't think nothing's recorded. The calls are done maybe
No, they're
over,
not recorded, yeah. And they're done
yeah,
through like Teams and Zoom and kind
Teams
of
or Zoom, yeah.
plug-in of the company, yeah.
So I guess maybe I'm curious to see. Well, I'm going to recommend this to all of my clients. I have a lot of people who are career shifters in my network, so I'll definitely bring them to you. But I guess the question is like, what can those people do to retribute, to pay it forward? To contribute. It's just registering and sharing information, I suppose. But what else?
Yeah, I mean, you're completely right. For the talents, it's completely for free. So if I speak of talents, it's like a job seeking side of the platform. So for them, it's for completely free. But obviously for us, it creates value to have talents on a platform, because the companies, they pay to meet talents. So the more
Yeah,
talents you get to the platform, that is very, very beneficial to us as a startup. So just by signing up to Career
just
Lunch and
yeah,
participating in Career Lunches, that is you help create value for us, because that provides value to our customers.
yeah.
Um, Yeah, so I think that's and then definitely spreading the word. So actually, sometimes I'm very happy to look on LinkedIn when I see almost every week I see posts from participants that share their experience and then they tag us, and that is a fantastic way as well to help us if we can
Yeah.
um, tap into those networks. If someone has a great experience, they share it on LinkedIn. There's often also cool content. Sometimes they take photos because there's virtual career lunches, but you can also do in-person career lunches where you actually go to the office
Yeah.
of the person that you're meeting, and that way you see the work environment.
But
So
you
sometimes
both have to be employed, right? You're not a job seeker. It's a peer-to-peer network, right?
it's actually it can be both. So you can be, but no, you can be one. So one party is always employed and representing the company, and the other party could be also passively job seeking, already employed, but still open to network. But could also be currently not employed or about to graduate and looking now for specifically for a position. So in terms of the job seeker side or the talent side, how we call it, they use it for networking and for finding career opportunities. So it can be both
Okay.
use cases, but there's always a representative of the company that you're meeting. So that's the other side who you're going to meet, and that's where the meeting with physical it takes place at the office of the person working in that company. Yeah,
Do you have success cases that you want to share of people who managed to find, a better career path through the platform? Do you have any proud, or yeah, big, yeah, maybe a success story, or if not, I guess, well, I'm sure you do have success stories, or maybe tell us what you're planning next with your platform if you're going to integrate, I don't know, other elements into it. I'm thinking, I mean, what would be the next step in terms of development of this once you have like a nice, um, decent amount of registered participants, like what would be the next move
yeah,
for you guys? Yeah.
sure. No, I guess then also 2 points to tackle. So one like success stories, and then a bit next steps in terms of success stories. Actually, one thing that comes now first to mind is, and we already talked about like people sharing content on LinkedIn. So for me, it's always a success if I see either a talent sharing some content on LinkedIn, or
Yeah.
sometimes the host of the career lunches, which we call lunch buddies, they share also content on LinkedIn. This is also very cool to see, and it shows kind of success to us that they had a great experience. And
Yeah.
you find them by also like hashtag career lunch on LinkedIn. You see many of those stories, and yeah, we're always happy to read them. And one that really stood out to me was towards the end of the year. I think it was end of January. Like one of the companies we work with, one person there had over 20 career lunches hosted, and made a really cool post on LinkedIn and said he reflected on his professional year of 2023, and one of his highlights was that he could be part of the CareerLunch initiative and meet all those talents and having great conversations, and also making an impact. And I think you referred to it before, this Lunch for Lunch initiative that we have. It's actually part of our goal to also contribute to social good. I mean, we are a for-profit company, and we make money through the companies that we work with. So not an NGO, but we still see an opportunity to do good in the work that we do. And one initiative there is to donate for every career launch that takes place. We make a donation to the World Food Program for the amount of like one meal, and we make that donation, and then we also, as a sign of appreciation, we generate certificates that we can share with talents and with the people who host career lunches, and say, hey, for example, this person that I mentioned with the LinkedIn post hosted 20 career lunches. We can give you like a certificate that says, hey, thanks for hosting 20 career lunches. Through that, we could make a donation of 20 meals to the World Food Program. And sometimes also people then share those things through LinkedIn. And
Yeah.
yes, that's a great way to hear or to show appreciation, and the fact that they share it to see that they also appreciate the appreciation from our side, and these are also success stories to tie it back from individuals. But then also you have success stories on a company level that some of the bigger companies we work with, they met sometimes several hundreds or over 1,000 talents already for our platform. Many hundreds were already hired through our post-career lunch. So it's kind of really cool to receive that feedback. And so that's part of what makes our team also motivated. Yeah.
And you want to go global? I mean, you took the DACH region. So that's part of the future. What's the future holding? Because there's no barriers to lunch. I mean, everyone has lunch.
Yeah, absolutely. We also feel like the need to connect or to find the right employer as a talent, and the need to find the right talent as an employer is very universal. So we don't see any geographic boundaries for the needs and what we solve in that case. And also maybe for the target group, we don't see a reason why only certain job groups would need that. In the end, I think we all seek a fulfilling career. And with that being said, our aspirations are global. So we, I think, long term want to go also outside of DACH region. We have already some markets within Europe that we evaluated that could be attractive. But I would say more short term, the DACH region still has a lot more potential. There is some benefit of focusing initially on a limited amount of markets because, well, one, we are already a small team, so we need to focus our resources, but also creates more value for all parties of the platform in a given market. So if we are in Switzerland, Germany, and Austria, there we have already a certain number of employers, so it gets more attractive for talents. If they have an option to choose from multiple employers, it's attractive for them. And the same for the companies we work with. If they have many talents in that market already through our platform, it's attractive for them. If you go to too many markets, then we would have maybe not enough employer in some of the markets to make it attractive enough for the talents. It's probably not so attractive. You can only career lunch with one company in Denmark, let's say. It would be probably attractive. Once you have 10, 20 potential employers, it gets attractive. So we need to really strategically think as well to go into a market and then really go more with a big bang into the market in the sense of, okay, getting lots of companies at the same time.
Yeah, with skill,
So that's why we're currently in DACH, but plans are to expand both in Europe and more long-term also outside of Europe. And in terms of target group, I mentioned we initially started with students and graduates because we had access through the universities to that target group. But now already naturally it expanded towards young professionals because some of the talents that joined when we launched 4 years ago, they now also are professionals with a few years of work experience. They sometimes still then come back to CareerLunch for the next opportunity. And we tap into their peer networks. If they share content on LinkedIn, then also they are more experienced peers will see it. So more and more professionals are also joining the platform. And I think one of the also 2024 plans is to expand that segment more. So it's not only, we don't want to be only known as a student graduate platform, but we also want to get more and more professionals with work experience using the platform because we see also that they can get a lot of value out of using the platform. And then it's obviously
no, and you're also forcing people out of their normal circle, which is so powerful because you're in that group and there's nothing really happening for you. Eventually you need to break through that in order to see career magic. And I just love what you're doing. Do you also match people that have, because I do a lot of personality assessment. So I was just thinking, oh, do I get to meet people that are also in similar, so I use Principles. It's a really great tool, but that could also be, you know them?
From Ray Dalio, right? The book.
Yeah.
And, he made a personality test, Principles or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's Ray Dalio and Adam Grant. So that's another matchmaking possibility, where you get to meet, oh, I'm a commander, so I meet other commanders, and plus I get to choose the industry and the region. Wonderful. I mean, it's just such a great idea, honestly, Simon. I mean, as a career coach, I just feel like, oh my God, this is the answer to all of our Hey, yeah.
Well, I must say we don't we haven't integrated personality test yet. So I think it is a great idea, and it's probably also for our product in the future that we could even make more relevant matches. But the reality is the matchmaking right now doesn't include your personality. So it's a more,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong, but it's serendipitous or some complicated word, but like more
Yeah,
more randomness involved in a
yeah, because it's
serendipity or
different. It's a different because you're matching, I think, mid-career people. Soft skills, they only start to matter a lot more when you're in your senior career. Yeah.
yeah.
And
I,
there it's more difficult because then, yes, we start to look at NDAs, and the matches get more tricky. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, I would agree that probably it matters more and more the more advanced you are, but probably already matters early in the career. But the way we
Sure.
currently solve it is more by letting the people meet and then make up their own mind. Was it a good match or not? So I'm getting to meet all these people from various companies, and then I ask myself, okay, where do I fit best? And we haven't done a pre-selection yet. So what we do, the pre-selection, is that you meet the relevant person background-wise. So like, okay, if you're an IT person, you're going to meet an IT person. If you're marketing focused, meet a marketing person. But personality-wise, could be in the future as well. I mean, I envision generally that we can, the more and more people using the platform, I think the better recommendations we can do. Like similar, like Netflix will recommend you movies
Yeah.
based on past movies that you've watched, or people with similar profiles than you liked. We could also imagine CareerLunch suggesting you companies and even teams within companies based on data points that we have from thousands of other career launches happening. So that's the kind of the smartness of the product. I would say there we're within the early shoes. We have some features in place to help with recommendations, but I think there's still a lot of product potential also in the future to
Mhm.
make these matches more and more relevant, and yeah, in the end, support the mission of helping people find a fulfilling career.
And one question I have to ask: salary negotiation, because it comes to that point many times. I'm approached for that. Um, how much am I going to make? How much can I make? Can you help me make more? Who's paying more? In which market, which industry, which employer? Do you have any support data, intel to provide, or they just have to figure that out on the at the lunch break with their match? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the career lunch format can be used. It's a very free format, right? So in a way,
Yeah.
the candidates, we brief them that they should come curious, and but they have the opportunity to question the people working there about what is relevant to them. So you could use the opportunity as well to ask kind of what are salary ranges. But from my own experiences, I'm also hosting career lunches through the platform. I've met many talents through that. Rarely have we been talking about salary at that stage. I think for most people, they because it also depends a bit on the specific job afterwards. I think career lunch is also, it's definitely not a job interview, and we also want to differentiate that, right? So we don't want to tie it to a specific job. A career lunch can be used to ask about, hey, what would be the right team for me in your company, and to figure out more about opportunities. But it's not, okay, I'm applying for this specific job and now I'm going on a career lunch to just talk about this job. Then it will be more an interview. But it's more about a step ahead, I would say, to get a feeling for the company culture, the opportunities within the company. And then probably it's not that easy already to give a very concrete salary
Estimation. Yeah.
expectation. Yeah.
Mm.
Although I do see the value of being transparent, and I think it's good that companies, if they have specific job openings, they indicate ranges. I think that's a good development. Yeah, but
Yeah,
career
they do
it's
that
one step
sometimes.
ahead. It's often before salaries are negotiated. Yeah.
Yeah, they do that well, in the US now it's kind of a mandatory thing.
Yeah.
It's not here yet. We're not quite progressist in that front, but okay. So LinkedIn is your main tool of work. So better have a nice, attractive LinkedIn if you want to be picked, right? So that's Yeah,
Sure, yes. I mean, it makes the process convenient, I think, for all parties. It's in the sense that you don't need to no motivation letter or CV upload. You just
yeah,
need to have a LinkedIn profile. But yes, it requires you to have the information there that is relevant to the companies you want to meet.
yeah.
So work experience, education, maybe some certificates, like whatever you think will help you. Is a good idea to put it there. And yes, but then the sign up is smooth. That's why once you have it ready, you just with a couple of clicks, you're on the platform and you can start requesting career lunches. And I think for us as a company, it also has the benefit to have structured data. I think with LinkedIn, every profile looks the
Yeah.
same, and with CVs, sometimes it's a different formatting and other
Mm,
things in place. So then also when we pass the LinkedIn profiles to the companies
mm.
that the towns want to meet, then they also have kind of structured information to deal with. Yeah.
And it's all in English, German, French, depends. You have to agree.
Yeah, so the platform itself, the interface is in English, but the companies we work with, they can decide how and which languages to put their profile information on. So we have companies doing it in German, some in English. We have also multiple language possibilities. So we have, I think the Swiss Garment is a good example. They use the three official languages in Switzerland with Italian, French, and German, also in their profile. So yeah, the platform can be navigated with English, and then the companies they will choose their profile language. And when you want to meet them, you also indicate the languages that you are fluent in to have a conversation. So also we can make sure we match you with someone that actually you can speak with. So yeah, that's an English speaker. So we match you with an English speaker, and yeah, for that reason.
And the match is manual. It's not some AI powered match, right? You do that internally.
I mean, our platform, no, it happens automated. I think to call it the AI is a bit overstated, but I think we do it smart. We
Yeah,
take some
smart
data
match.
points into account. I think, yeah, the typical startup founder would tell you, yes, all AI magic. Um, but in the end, it's just a couple of algorithmic things that we do, but we look at your background, we look at the backgrounds of the people in the company, the languages you speak, the languages the people in the company speak, and then there's some time slot matching to make sure
Yeah,
the availability matching works out. So we do all that automated. So there's no one in our team who decides that Rebecca meets Simon,
yeah.
but kind of then the tool that takes care of that match itself. But the companies have the opportunity to select the towns that they want to invite also for to meet. So it's not so you still need to kind of apply for a career lunch with your LinkedIn profile, because also sometimes just the volume is not feasible for all companies to just handle all career lunches. But yeah, that way they are in control with the candidates that are meeting them. But then which employee you're actually going to meet within a company, that is handled through our tool based on data points of your background, languages, and availabilities.
What do you need? Investors, more B2B clients, right? Because you have B2B and B2C, right? Do you
Yeah.
need what do you need to more talent maybe to recruit for your own team? What are you what can we help you with? Yeah.
I mean, for where we send off the company, it's for the first time we actually, so we have investors on board. We did a seed round with a really cool venture capital firm. We have also very um, good business angels on board who provided smart money, and or some of them are from the HR industries. Some of them are entrepreneurs themselves who built a big company. So it also helps me a lot to learn from their expertise, because for me it's I still would consider myself a well, maybe not unexperienced founder, but still I certainly lack experience compared to other founders who already built a lot bigger companies, and that way I can learn from our investors as well. Right now we don't need financing because we managed this quarter for the first time to be actually cash flow positive, and which is nice as well for a startup to
Awesome.
that stage. But what we definitely looking for is how to grow the platform, how we can grow our impact, and in the end the size, both in terms of companies on the platform and in terms of talents on the platform. And I mean, anyway, like it's a we need to scale both sides to grow
Yeah.
the company. company. We cannot just scale one site. So if people wonder how they can help, I think that the most simple thing is to just start using the platform. If you're a talent that wants to network, that wants to look for jobs, sign up on a platform, start meeting people through the platform.
Completely free. That's just
Yeah,
wonderful.
exactly. And if there are some HR people listening, then I think for the and they're curious to use this potentially as a tool to meet talents, to make their brand tangible, to build talent pools, then they can also reach out. We have on a website for company sections where we can then schedule a meeting and discuss opportunities to join the platform as an employer. So both
Yeah.
of those things will definitely help.
Okay. Awesome. Um, Maybe a few last words. I think we're reaching the end of this. I mean, I don't have any burning questions, and the audience is also. I mean, they're watching. You'll have questions later, I'm sure, from them in your private message on LinkedIn. Um, yeah, I guess we're gonna watch you closely to see how this evolves and what are the next. Um, yeah, services that you will provide. I mean, that's already a great support. I'm not saying you need to do anything beyond what you're already doing really well, but scaling and growing and taking over other markets. So that's really what I was after, was this talk today, to help people understand your tool and get them to use it, whether they are a business or a career shifter. Yeah. One question would be for expats, because if you just arrived in this market, you have no one to
Yeah.
support your development. And so your network is really limited. And I think that would be a really great start. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we see definitely that because one of the values that's created is networking, that we both like exchange students or expats are using the platform as well to build their network in the local market.
Yeah.
So definitely be used for
It's
that.
a localization tool. So
Yeah, for
yeah, you
sure.
can accelerate your networking with CareerLunch. I'm just really excited to continue to use it. I mean, I had one chat with you, and I will encourage my clients and friends and partners and peers to dive into it. So if there's no questions from the audience, I think we will then conclude our chat for today. Simon, thank you so much. I cannot wait to see what you will do next, and I'll be watching closely. Thank you so much.
Well, I just saw it in the chat. I think there's some comments. Someone told me the right words. It was like serendipity that was looking for the randomness.
Yeah, exactly.
So thanks, Catherine. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, she's
And yeah,
watching us from Brazil. Hi, Catherine.
okay.
Yeah, we have a pretty large audience. So yeah, I hope you take over Brazil and beyond. But yeah, so any last words? Otherwise, I will just call it.
Just thank you so much for hosting, and then for the people who listened. Was great
Yeah.
to have this opportunity, and then obviously wishing everyone all the best in their careers, and if we can help in one way or another with Career Lunch, then even better.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much,
much.
so much, so much. Thank you everyone for watching us. I'm just ending the live now on Instagram, and now bye everyone.
Bye
See
bye.
you next week. Bye bye. And we